All right, fourth grade, we're going to be creating this beautiful little moonlight pumpkin. So we will be talking about value today. We're going to be doing lots of different values of orange. We are going to be talking about balance, emphasis, and contrast. And then, of course, we're going to be talking about light and shadow. So we're going to get our pumpkin drawn first. So you will get to choose either a black piece of paper or a dark blue, depending on what color sky you want, either a midnight blue or a black. You'll have a tracer to create our pumpkin, and we're just going to be using chalks today. So the very first thing you're going to do is you're going to put the little tracer in the center of your paper because we want balance, right? That's balance. It's a good example of balance. We don't want the pumpkin way off to one side. We want balance. We want him right in the center. So you are going to get a black or a brown will work for this. And you are going to trace the circle. We're going to create this pumpkin out of a circle. I'll show you how to do this. We're also going to be talking about one of the art elements, form. We are giving this pumpkin form by using lots of curved lines. Look at how I curved all of these lines to make it look more three-dimensional. Form. Perfect. All right, we're going to actually come right down the center of this pumpkin and we're going to make a curved line. Perfect. Now we already have these curves. I already have these. So I'm just going to go to the center of the pumpkin. And I'm going to pull a line, and I'm going to meet the bottom right here. And it does have symmetry, so whatever I do on this side, I'm going to do on this side. I'm going to do the same thing. And depending on how big you want your pumpkin, I think I might want mine maybe one more. And I'm just going from the center of that line to the bottom. And that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to be blending all of this together. We just kind of need the basic shapes and form. Now, in order to do a stem, I like to actually put an oval at the top, and then you can just kind of curve lines. You can either do it that way, you can make whatever stem you want. I just like this pumpkin stem. Perfect. All right, so the next thing we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and we're going to color this pumpkin. So, if I've got a moonlight coming from the top of the page, either you're going to put your moon here, here. We just don't want a silhouette. You don't want him right in front because remember we talked about silhouettes. If the moon's right in front of the pumpkin, we wouldn't be able to see any color, right? So we're going to make sure that that moon is on this side. But if we have the moon up on top, then we know that we're going to have some lighter colors up at the top, right? The darkest part of the pumpkin is going to be at the bottom because our light source is coming from here or here from the top, right? What you're going to do is you're going to get you about 3 different values of orange, okay? So maybe a dark, I've got, let's see, even 2 values are fine. If you can't find 3, that's okay. 2 values is great because then we're going to be adding some highlights, so that'll give us a third. All right, so at the bottom of the pumpkin, you're simply going to, again, this is on its belly, we're just going to gently rub some of this darker color at the bottom of the pumpkin. We're going to be blending with our fingers today. And I'm going to go about halfway up the pumpkin. Remember, it does not take much chalk because we're going to be blending it and it's going to push that chalk all over the page. And I'm going to put my brighter orange up here. That's okay, I can get it into my black. I'm actually going to go back over that black at the end to make it pop out. And you don't want it perfect either. You don't want it perfectly halved. Alright, so I've got a couple of different values of orange in here. I'm going to go ahead and do my stem brown, and I'll be adding some highlights in this, but I'm going to go ahead and just put the basic colors down. We call that just color blocking. Alright, so now you're going to get your finger and you are going to blend with your finger. And we're going to blend from the lightest down. You'll have a sponge today too. So we're going to actually only use the sponge when we're moving from one color to a totally different color. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and wipe my fingers just because I was touching that brown. All right, I'm going to start at the top of the pumpkin and I'm just going to massage. And that's okay. I'm even massaging some of that black. That's okay. I'm just going to massage. And I have found that actually using your finger creates a better texture than the tissue. So that's why we're not pulling out the tissue. And I'm just going to massage with my finger. Okay, and I'm blending this chalk out just like we did with paints, but I'm doing it with my finger. And I'm going to blend over every single part of this beautiful pumpkin. And I'm not done. These are just my first little basic color blocks, just to kind of put some color down on the pumpkin. All right, and if you see that you kind of don't have enough, fill it in, blend it out. Because I don't want blue to show. You really don't want any of that blue to show. Not too much. All right, I'm going to go ahead and blend my stem because that's okay. If I've got a little bit of orange in it, it's okay. Those colors would be reflecting anyway. All right, so I've got my pumpkin. Now, before I start adding all my details with all my highlights and all that, I'm going to get my basic picture down first, and then I'm going to go back and do all of my final touches. So now I'm going to add a moon or a moon in the background, and you can have it either a white or a yellow. It doesn't matter. I think I'm going to put a white one, and I'm going to do it on this side. Just a small moon. You don't want too big of a moon. Just a small moon. Now this is where you will need to clean your finger. I don't want any other color on my finger. And I'm going to gently make a perfect circle in the background. Okay? You don't want a really big moon. You don't need a big moon. Perfect. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some vines. And again, I'm going to do 2 different values of green. And you can have your vines go however you want them. Doesn't matter. Maybe I want some to go that way. I want some to go that way. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the light green. Right on top. And you see how that just pops it out? And that's called contrast. I have a dark green and a really light green, which causes contrast. Black and white are perfect examples of contrast. It's very pleasing to the eye. Alright, so now I am going to add my highlights. I've got my moon. Now I want to add some highlights to this pumpkin. You can either take a yellow or a really light color. You can even do white if you want to do white, but I don't think I want white. I think I just want a really bright, this color will work, and just on the top of the pumpkin, or the yellow will work. And I am just going to put the chalk on its side, and I'm going to add just some highlights. I'm even going to do it in the stem, just a few. And I'm going to blend those out at the top of the pumpkin. Because I would have some lighter areas up on the top where the moon is reflecting on the pumpkin. Maybe right in here is a really bright spot. It's your picture. It's your world. So just wherever you think that light's really going to be reflecting. And I'm going to blend the stem, because maybe on this side, since my source is coming from this way, this side of my stem is going to be really bright. Alright, now we're going to add a shadow. Now if my moon is coming from this way, that means my shadow is going to be coming at a slant this way. So you're going to take your black, and where your source is coming from, you're just going to kind of do a slanted line just like that, because this is where the pumpkin's going to be blocking that light. We're going to, you don't want it perfect. You want it kind of roundy because the pumpkin's kind of round, right? You're going to take your finger and you are going to kind of round that out. You're going to put a dark shadow. And of course the shadow is going to be really dark where the pumpkin's sitting, right? So I'm going to really make that dark. Perfect. All right. Now, while I've got my black, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to trace over those lines I did just to really make this pumpkin pop out. We want those deep shadows in there, right? If you want to kind of take your finger, you want to blend those out. I'm blending that out. Perfect. Very good. And then the very last thing you're going to do is you're just going to add a few little stars just to complete your picture. Now, the emphasis is your main attraction. It's your main attraction. So what do you think my main attraction is in this picture? Okay, it's going to be my pumpkin, right? Even though I've got a really pretty moon in the back, that is not my emphasis. My emphasis, where I want the eye to be drawn to, is my pumpkin. Very good. And then if you want to take your black and also outline and create more contrast in your little loop-de-loos, you absolutely can do that. Just kind of add shadow in there. You can totally do that. You don't have to. But that is contrast. Balance, we have him in the center. Emphasis. And then, of course, our value, our different color value of oranges that we used to create that beautiful pumpkin. All right, when you're done, you'll get a wipe, clean your hands, clean your mat, and you can pull out your drawing tubs. Have fun.